Welcome back. Yes, we are discussing the very paramount issue of doping within sports, and in particular within the junior levels of sport. It seems to be highlighted as a key area. I'm joined by Khalid, Galant and David George. Gentlemen, thank you for sticking around this morning. Khalid, how prevalent is this issue here in South Africa? You know, we've seen the global headlines. Lance Armstrong has really opened up and highlighted so many areas, and we've spoken about cycling being that focus area, but this is not something that is just involved in cycling. This is something that is prevalent throughout. Where does South Africa sit in that global map? Yeah,
unfortunately, it's a growing trend in South Africa across the sports. We've seen a lot of activity in terms of doping activity in sports like athletics, rugby, boxing, in cycling, triathlon. But again, as you mentioned earlier, the concern that we have is the age and the choices that athletes are making at a very young age. So when we talk about prevalence, we're also talking about the age that athletes are entering a doping system or doping thoughts or thinking about it is getting younger and younger. And we're not sure if South Africa is unique to that. But it is an issue, so whether it's unique or not, we have to address it in South Africa.
It doesn't really matter. Now, obviously, at your level, David, there is a massive amount of focus. There are huge procedures involved. There is a lot there keeping you honest. At a school level, none of that exists. In your mind, what is the answer? How do we start focusing on that younger level to start changing, shifting that culture, bringing about a paradigm shift, as Khalid was saying?
So I think for me, there's a couple of emotional drivers, or three that come out, or the hypocrisy, people saying one thing and doing another, being a cynic, becoming a cynic and a skeptic, and how quickly do those athletes become skeptical and become a cynic. And for me, the only way to really address the doubt is by doing a lot of testing and by making that testing transparent to the competitors. So I don't have to think that I need to move to that level to compete, because I know that they're all being tested the same as we are. So I think test a lot, which is obviously expensive, so we need bigger contributions from, I don't know what drug-free revenue streams are like, but there needs to be a bigger contribution, because we need to test a lot and obviously make it known that you're testing everyone.
How do we do that? How do we transfer that from the professional level? When we were speaking about water polo, for instance, where there is no national team, where there is no mandate at the highest level to trickle down. So where do we start with our junior sports, with school sports? How do we govern that, where you've got, say, for instance, one school in the Paarl area has 3 managers for one sports team at school level. So how do we permeate that level?
Well, as David mentioned, there is an issue of resources, but it's also an issue of efficient use of resources. We can't always claim no money, no money. It's also an efficient use of resources. And actually today we have a meeting in Cape Town with quite a few schools hosted by bishops, where we are unveiling or unrolling a program for testing in schools to try to address these issues of testing, where it can be a deterrent.
How will this happen? Surely parents are going to weigh in now when their child is being tested. How do we get buy-in from all the relevant parties?
Well, so far we have lots of buy-in from the school headmasters, from the school governing bodies. This is the first phase where parents are now being invited. In terms of the consent issues, testing is actually allowed in the school setting, and the Schools Act allows that. What we've done is we've used the paradigm of the Schools Act and the framework of the Drug-Free Sport Act, and saw how we can find a nexus between the two.
David, the lessons you have learnt over the last year of your life, I would imagine, are incredibly profound. To young sportsmen who have looked up to you, who are looking to build a career in sport and make something of themselves using this vehicle, what advice do you have for them after the lessons that you have learnt?
Look, I mean, the lessons that cycling learns daily. Make sure that you're getting tested. If you're not comfortable that your competitors aren't being tested enough, say something. I think for me, that's the most important thing, is that people sort of gravitate towards it because they think they have to. And the moment you get to that point there is when you need to start talking about it, when we need to start talking to the kids. It's like, at that moment where I think, okay, I'm now going to fit in, and I'm now going to, partake in what's going on because everyone else is doing it. That's where we need to focus.
That's where it breaks down, yeah.
For me, yeah. That's a lesson for me, is that if somebody had come to me at that moment and said, look, it's not worth it, this is how much testing we're going to do, and you're going to get caught, and let me tell you, when you get caught, it's way worse. It's way worse than you think it is.
I think the lesson that I'm learning very quickly from you is, if you want to take responsibility for your own life, man up. And I appreciate the fact that you have done just that for us this morning, but just in your own career, I think it sends a very clear message. David, thank you so much for joining us and opening up this morning. Khalid, thank you. Good luck today at Bishops. I hope it goes incredibly well, but I think we'll be touching base with you a lot this year to see how the campaign is going and where South Africa is in the greater diaspora. But thank you very much. We really do appreciate both of your time.
Thanks.
All right, great issue to sink our teeth into this morning. Keep those comments and those questions coming from your side. We'd love to know how you feel about doping in sport. What are the solutions? How can you make a difference in your own life? We have got Lindiwe Subtle in studio this morning. She's about to light up our main road studios. You do not want to miss another second of the show.